Hello, yeah. Good morning. So, as I'm on my healing journey, taking a deeper dive into things in my life that I blacked out because at those young ages I did not understand and I didn't want to break down. So, when I was younger, nobody was explaining things to me. So, it was easier for me to block it out because I really didn't understand what was going on. So, now for the first time, like I've been acknowledging these things on the surface, but this is the first time I want to take a deeper dive into my relationship with my aunt Jacqueline. Realizing that she's been grooming me pretty much my entire life. So I'm just gonna start from the beginning because I do have memory problems. But if I start from the beginning, I could trace things up. Um, so this is going to be a little bit all over the place. I'm being very open and vulnerable with myself because these videos are for me to heal and grow. These videos are not for everyone unless it's someone who's been through these similar things where they can get the help from it, but also solo living. So these are conversations I have with myself to heal, and I need to be very open about it. So this is you're seeing a Scorpio doing their retreat and dissect, because if I do it in my head, I'm gonna forget, and then I'm not gonna heal. So this is the purpose for me recording. So yeah, about to do a deep dive into my experience with my aunt Jacqueline Sabrina Young, starting from the beginning. One of my very first memories of my aunt is when I was very young, probably about 3 years old, around the time where she had my cousin Dion, um, who is a year younger than me. Um, that was a very, it was like basically, I was just like newly spawned into the world. I was just alive around people, things were going on. Um, I was the youngest at the time, even though I'm the oldest of my mom's children. I was the youngest of all of my cousins. My aunt has a son that's older than me. Um, my cousin Dion was born after me, and then she had two sons after that, but they weren't born yet. My mom's other sister had children that are grown and children that were 3 years and above older than me. Um, I don't like any but one of her children, and pretty much all of my other cousins were older than me. During this time of life, we used to have a lot of barbecues. We used to go to the beach a lot. We used to do a lot of outings. In that young part of life, everything was good for the most part. I did not realize anything wrong. Looking back, sexual things were always being done to me, but I didn't realize there was also a lot of fun things going on. We were always going to the beach. Everything was, we always had plans and things to do. Um, One of my youngest times, because my aunt, she used to be my favorite. She used to be my favorite person. Like, I loved her so much. I used to be her favorite. She has this pretty princess. My aunt is the first person that gave me etiquette class. Um, she built me up, but then she also broke me down. Um, I used to be her favorite at that time. My family believes in favorites. I used to be her favorite at that time, but even as a child, I was realizing things were wrong because she was she was trying to separate me from everyone. I didn't notice that yet, but my cousin Jatara, who's missing, um, and all five of her children are missing. But my cousin Jatara, my aunt used to call a demon because she's mixed. She's half Native American and Hispanic, and I don't know if my granddad is African, but I know his descendants come from the transatlantic. My dad's are indigenous, um, but she was mixed, and my aunt thinks that mixed children are have demons. She doesn't read scripture to know that That's not true. But she used to always call my cousin Little Devil. She was also allowing her husband to sexually abuse my cousin. I did not know that at the time. Um, but my cousin, I don't know if she was ever the favorite. She's 3 years older than me. Um, but my aunt would always try to pit me and my cousin against each other. And my cousin would feed off of that. I was quiet. I was just quiet in my body, observing. In my heart, I felt like that was wrong. I felt like my aunt was wrong. I was looking, I was trying to understand. I was always searching out and I'm seeking the truth. I'm not just listening to what I'm being told. I'm hearing, but I'm doing my own investigative work. And my experience was what I learned. My cousin was not a bad child. She was being abused very badly, you know? And so some of my early experience, me and my aunt were very close. She favored me. She used to buy me things. We used to have tea parties. She taught me etiquette. Um, she, built me up on her. When I got about 6, she told me that my voice was too soft and it's gonna get on people's nerves. And like my aunt is the reason why I started talking with a deep voice because because of that. I think she wanted me to be, I guess, like a stud because she was making me her. She was grooming me from very very young. Everyone told me like, "Oh, you think you're beautiful, this and that." Like they was just like, so I just kind of went into like, I went into like, I was always very girly. I went into more of the stud appearance from a young age because I wanted people to stay off my body and because I was degraded for being girly. Um, I think that's what my aunt wanted me to be. Um, the way I dress has always been a defense mechanism because I did not want to be found attractive by men, which still didn't work. Um, but then, ooh, am I gonna get into that? Is that important? I'm gonna skip that because I've already been over in my videos about when I was younger, when I was 6, and my dad, after my dad kidnapped us, and my mom was basically screaming for her life because my granddad sold her to his friends for him. They started drugging and abusing us. Then my dad kidnapped us, and my mom's, telling everybody, like, I'm being sexually abused. They're abusing me and my children. And they're like, oh, she's crazy. Put her in a mental ward. Took away her mental rights as an adult when all of this stuff was really going on. Gave my aunt full control over my mom. Put us with my aunt. And my aunt, while my mom, the CPS had my mom doing the game program. So she was out looking for work and stuff. She used to bring us to work with her at the library, but then they made us stay. They said, you can't bring your children to work with you. We had to stay with our aunt. This was around the time when Hillary Clinton attempted to kidnap me from Nan Sanders. Um, so my aunt and uncle took us in the room, paired us up, and told us to do what they did, and they started doing, and they told me and my cousin Dion we were married. My sister and her and my sister and my cousin Malik and my cousin Jatara and my cousin James. And they told us that it was love, right? And this had already been happening in my body for so many years, and that's the only time like I thought I was married to my cousin. They told me that like I was so ashamed for that for so long. Um, of course, I know that that's not okay now. Um, but that time period, I'm not going to get into that time period. A lot of horrible things happened in that time period that I blacked out for so long. Um, I need a moment. My brain is trying to shut down because this is traumatic and I'm trying to override it. So when we were older, after being taken to foster care, um, because after that, after all of that happened, we left. CPS did not take us. I'm guessing because they know what they were doing. So much happened that I'm not going to get into. Um, CPS continued to gang stalk us. They continued to stay in our life after the failed kidnapping attempt by Hillary Clinton. They put skull and bones in front of our door. They stalked my mom for the next 4 years until they kidnapped us and took us to foster care. Um, we were in foster care for about 18 months. Got out on St. Patrick's Day. Everything is a ritual. Um, this video, I'm only talking about my aunt Jacqueline experience, so I'm skipping all of that. Um, After foster, we were put back with my aunt. When we went back with my aunt, the first thing my cousin asked me was, "Are we going to do what we used to do?" And I told him no. And I'm very proud of him that actually I was going to say he never forced me, but I became delusional. I started making up better stories of people than they actually were because he actually did try to force me. He just was never strong enough. He used to corner me when I got out of the shower, try to push me against the wall, but I convinced myself that he was not trying to do anything sexually to me. Actually, um, yeah. I and to survive in my mind, I rewrote everything much happier. So I have to undo that. I rewrote everything in my mind as a better ending so that I didn't go crazy. um so yeah. Um my aunt, I don't know if I can get into all of this today. I'm realizing that she treated me like in a very sick way, that like we were dating. I was not allowed to be a part of the family. She kept me in the garage. I was not allowed to do any of the family things. When they went on family events, she always kicked me out and spread false rumors to all her friends in the neighborhood that I did something that I didn't do. And then she would come in the garage and she would be yelling at me, degrading me, telling me about her life. She made me empathize with her. That's how I found out that she was my granddad's sex slave. I blacked a lot of that out. She would be on my body telling me that I'm never going to have anybody but her. And that if I think people care about me, that she could make something up about me and they're going to believe her. That who do I think they're going to believe, me or her? And she would do that. And one by one, I started losing everybody in my family that I thought cared about me. And that's when I just stopped caring. She tried to groom me to be dependent on her and to always need her. But I was always going to let go and I was always going to run away. When she wasn't brutally degrading me and being on my body, when she knew I was about to break, she would take me out and she would change and she would just be nice to me. And we would go to Red Lobster, which was her favorite restaurant. Sometimes she took me to my favorite restaurant, which was Little Caesars. She'd give me like $50. Sometimes she let me get a strawberry daiquiri, and she would talk to me like she loved me. I can't go any deeper.